and then does what he does. How rare is that, do you think, to see a guy do what he does, get that experience?
I think it's great for the locker room. It's great for everybody. It's a great example of just keep your head down, continue to work, and then making the most and maximizing your opportunity. I thought he played really well. Obviously, was impactful in the game, and not only on defense. He had the play on defense where he drew a personal foul. He kicked the guy's butt in front of him, drove him back. The guy got frustrated, headbutted him, and then he didn't respond. He kept his poise, and that's something that we talked about. And you got to give him a lot of credit because that's not always easy to do in the heat of the battle. So I was really happy with his play and happy for him, and I would expect to see more of him, and hopefully he'll continue to grow as a player. But I think it all starts with his approach, how he attacks it, how he comes into the building, and he's just, he's had to earn everything he's gotten up to this point. And but I am excited about him, and just I think there's going to be more out there for him.
Along those lines, he played almost as many snaps as Lucas did yesterday. Is that because Brent was playing so well, or is it a bit of a combination of the way Lucas has been playing that was so even?
Yeah, I think it's a credit to B. Cox how he was playing, and so I think the better you do out there, the more opportunity you're going to get.
Do you need to see more out of Lucas? I mean, I know he had a pressure, I think, but otherwise he didn't show up in the.
Yeah, I think everything's situationally in terms of what we're asking the guys to do, and I'm sure there's a couple plays that come to mind that I think that he's capable of better, but we'll keep coaching him, and I know he'll keep working.
Yeah, Matt, going back to what you said about Brenton's success being good for the locker room, you've been in the league a long time now, and a lot of times it's this guy's drafted here or whatever. Why is that so important that these guys understand that it's merit-based around here, and it doesn't matter how you got here, you're going to get your opportunity if you
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's good for especially guys, whether you're on a P squad or maybe you're not getting the snaps you want, it's just a good lesson to continue to work and keep at it. And you got to make sure that you're preparing for that moment. So when that moment comes, you're able to capitalize on it. And I think that's what he did yesterday.
What is Monday like after a win like that, where it had to be exhilarating, just in the fashion it happened, but also knowing that you didn't play to the level that you'd expect from yourself?
Yeah, it was a strange game in the fact that there weren't a lot of opportunities in terms of possessions, really, for either team, obviously. But I thought there was a lot of missed opportunities, and you got to give them credit. They came in with a good plan. We knew, especially on the defense, their defense situationally was going to be a challenge, and they did a good job. But I thought, our defense in a couple of instances, namely on some of those third and fourth downs, we got to play better. We got to do our job, and you got to rely on the guy next to you to do their job. But we had multiple miss-ops. I think there was a miss-op at the end of the game when you have an opportunity to get a sack on a 3rd and 19 to make it pretty darn hard to convert on a 4th and really long. And, Caleb's able to duck underneath the sack, get out, and make a good off-schedule play. So I just thought in every phase, really on the offense and defense side of the ball, there were opportunities there that we didn't capitalize on.
Matt, with the benefit of hindsight and not playing the results game, now that you look back, still feel like the right call to go for it on 4th and goal from the 6?
Well, not when you don't convert. When you look at it, okay, so what I was thinking in the moment was, was there like 11 minutes left in the game or whatever? There weren't very many possessions. You just didn't know when you're going to get the ball back. You could put it like this, because this is something that you always kind of talk about after the fact. Did we do the right thing? I have long conversations with Connor Lewis, and he's like, well, you can look at it like this. We kick the field goal, get the 3 points. That would make it 19-17, I believe. And then they had a 50-yard drive. Now they're in field goal range. Or maybe, who knows what happens if they get the ball at the 30 versus they get the ball at the -2-yard line. So, who knows how it would have played out. I did check with our the analytic deal, and I guess it was a difference of like 2% or 3% or something like that, and in favor of going for it. But that's not why, I don't care about that at the end of the day. That doesn't matter to me. I was just curious. You know, so it's basically a flip of a coin. I wish we would have called a different play on third down. In hindsight, having I guess, once we got inside the 10-yard line, in my mind, it was 4-down territory. And so that would have allowed us to potentially sneak in another run. You know, throwing the ball against cover 2 down there is not always great. It's very, very hard to do. There's just not a lot of space. They do a good job with some of the leverages on their safeties. And so the play that was called for on third down really didn't give Jordan a lot of options there. And then he saw some daylight, and he got and scrambled, you know, and then fourth down, just another scramble drill. So when you're doing that, it's not ideal, I would say. So you just got to, hopefully next go around, we got to have I would say, a better plan in that situation.
The analytics people, was that just today to see what the?
Yeah, I was just curious.
Matt, the Bears put in the final play, they said they thought, they sent it to the league, they thought you guys might have been over their center too much. Just wondering, did you guys feel like you did it correctly?
Listen, I've seen a lot of plays where I think a penalty should have been called, and it doesn't happen, so I'll just leave it at that. I thought there was multiple plays in that game. It happens. That's why I always never want to leave it in the hands of the officials. So you got to try to stay out of those situations as best you can.
Did Jagger aggravate something yesterday, or he just couldn't play like he wanted to?
Yeah, he didn't feel like he could play, so we pulled him.
Matt, look, from our perspective, this is a tough subject to ask questions about, because I don't ever want to question a guy's toughness or commitment or anything like that. When you do have him active, and you guys obviously went through a process to make the decision on whether to have him active, how problematic is it when he's not able to continue, and is it a...
Well, that's always a risk. I knew that going into it. So, you know, he was on a pitch count regardless, and those other guys were well aware that they were going to have to play. But we just felt like it was better to have him for a limited period. Now, you just was hoping we could get through it and keep him on a pitch count and then pull him. But yeah, didn't work out that way.
How does that impact your thinking as you go through the course of the week now with him leading into Sunday?
Well, yeah, you better take into account every situation that you go through, and try not to repeat that. If there's a question, probably err on the side of caution.
You mentioned wanting to stick with the run more closer to the goal line. It looked like when you guys got in the red area yesterday, you guys were more focused on sticking with Josh Jacobs. What's the balance of that? With obviously you want Jordan to have the ball.
Sure. I would say it's a lot of the times it's, you know, what looks are they presenting too, and when they're playing a bunch of red too, if you can't run the ball, it's going to be very, very difficult. So, you know, we leaned on our run. The one sequence where we had 2nd and 1, we called another run. We didn't block it correctly, and we also got a look where it was an RPO, and we went to, like, I guess, the double move off of it, and I thought Chicago defended it pretty well, and then we had a lineman downfield, so we went backwards, then called, you know, the play to Jaden Reed. We missed a block at the point of attack, went backwards again, and then we threw the pick. So that was a bad sequence, you know. But I thought, all in all, I thought we know and recognize, you know, where we're having most of our struggles. And most of our struggles right now on offense are coming in the red area. Again, self-inflicted wounds, whether it's penalties or negative plays. And then on third down, we just got to do a better job, and that's the emphasis, and we're working hard at it. It's just we haven't gotten the results that we'd like right now.
Is getting Jacobs more involved in the red area over the remainder of the season, is that maybe the key to unlocking that, do you think?
Yeah, we'll see. I think every game's a little bit different. It can be very challenging at times if they want to load everybody up there, and let's say they're going to play cover zero. Although we did score on that one, so, unblocked guy doesn't make the tackle. Usually it's pretty good for the offense.
You talk a lot right here about missed opportunities. What do you like about the fight? I know you've mentioned it all year long, but the fight your guys gave when things might have not looked the greatest in that second half.
Yeah, I think, that's this league. And you look around the league, most of these games, or I should say a lot of these games are going down to the final drive. I mean, there was a good example yesterday in the San Francisco-Seattle game as well. So you better stay resilient. You better keep fighting and have that never say die mentality. And I think that's what showed on that final play is just the effort and strain that our field goal block unit went out there with and made a play.
I know you don't watch the TV copy, but on the pick, Fox had a really good angle where it almost looks like Tucker thinks there's somebody behind him that the ball is being thrown to, and he kind of pulls his arms down.
Yeah, somebody else said that to me, and when I watched it, I don't know if I didn't ask Tuck, but I did see it. I still think it was, just the ball sailed on him, and I talked to Jordan about it. It's just, that happens sometimes, and we looked at it from the decision-making process. It was definitely the right decision. It was within the timing of the play. I mean, that's where he's supposed to go on one hitch. And I didn't think he was, like, his mechanics were way off. I didn't see him falling off the throw. It just happened. It just sailed. So, all in all, I was proud of Jordan. I thought he played a pretty darn good game, especially in you got to account for everything. But for the most part, I thought he did a really good job. I thought he was moving around like we've been accustomed to seeing him. He looked healthier than he'd been, made some big-time throws. I think that last big pass to Christian Watson, I mean, there was pressure in his face. We always call those no-flinch clips where you just got to stare down the barrel of a gun and know you're going to get blasted and, be able to deliver that ball. And obviously, Christian made a great play for him. So, but I was really happy with his play.
You mentioned after the game, too, about his decision-making. Is that it seemed like he was hitting his checkdowns more than he has and even threw the ball away a couple times. Is that a byproduct of emphasizing that over the bye, or where do you think that changed?
I just think, no, I think he's a smart guy. He's intentional about his work, and, that's the way we need him to play, because there was a few instances. I thought, all in all, our offense line did an outstanding job of giving him the protection that he needed. But there were a couple times where we busted a protection and people got in there and there was no hesitation. It was like, boom, I'm getting the check down. I thought he did a great job. There was one of the third and longs in the first half where he hit Christian Watson. Just the ability to hang in the pocket and have those subtle movements that we always look for that pocket manipulation, and then throwing a strike to Christian Watson. So I thought, all in all, like I said, I thought he played a pretty solid game.
Amid all the excitement, obviously, it's a big-time win. Could you also sense that in the locker room and afterward that there's still that fight in this team, like, we need to do a whole lot better?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think anybody was just, just filled with a bunch of joy on like, we knew that was going to be a grinder of a game. I think that's a good football team. I mean, when you look at it, those two plays right there, they could easily be a 6-4 team, and there's been plays in other games where, maybe they're even better than that. But that is this league. You just gotta find a way to get it done. And for us right now, that's been a few games where we've won. Well, I think that's our third game where we've won with no time left on the clock.
Two more, please.
Earlier today, the Packers Hall of Fame announced that Mark's going to be the inductee for 2025. I was just kind of wondering what he's meant to you, and obviously the last 6 years.
Oh, Mark's been he's been amazing. I mean, obviously, I'm not standing here right now if he didn't give me this opportunity. So I'll be forever grateful to him. But I also think just having gotten to work with him the last 6 years, I mean, I think he's a great leader. He allows you to go and do your job. And he's super supportive, and he's always there for you when you need him. Obviously, you guys have gotten to know him. He's a great person first and foremost, and I think he leads this entire organization the right way. So he's certainly, he's well deserving of that honor.
Defensively, what do you make out of yesterday? They've been struggling, obviously.
Sure.
They had the coordinator change. You guys had your bye week. They had
Yep.
400 yards and a bunch of third downs. I guess what do you make out of all that in the kind of the big picture?
The thing I make out of that is we got to be better. And like just after watching the tape with the guys, I would say we're all in agreement of that. There was opportunities to get off the grass, and we didn't, for one reason or another. We didn't make the plays, and it's a credit to them. I thought they had a good plan. I thought Caleb played as well as he's played. He was very decisive in terms of just hitting the top of his drop, getting rid of the football, going to the spots where he needed to go with it, and then he was effective using his legs. And I think that was a big takeaway. And I think you saw it on both sides of the ball when rush lanes weren't coordinated or there was room. Jordan hurt Chicago with his legs and getting out and creating some off schedules, and same with Caleb. And so I think it was good for our team to see that, and it happened on both sides of the ball. It's so critical that when you're playing guys that can move, you can't let them get out and make plays with their legs, whether it's picking up the first down, scrambling, or creating those off-schedule plays, because there were some big-time plays in that game. Do we have time for one more, Jason?
He's always last.
Okay.
Not as good at jumping routes as Ryan is. Look, you mentioned Christian about 6 times. How important and what's the value of him having the game? Like, he wasn't super involved earlier in the year. He didn't sulk. He didn't stay home. He handled it really well. What is the value of him doing what he did yesterday?
Yeah, he's a big part of this, and it was great to see him, especially make some of those plays down the field. He's a guy that, he's got every measurable known to man in terms of the size, the speed, and it was great to see him make those. It's not like those were easy plays that he was making. He was making tough contested catches. The one Jordan threw up to him, double coverage, it just, for him to make those plays, I think that most importantly, it gives him the confidence that I think we've all had in him, and just to see him go out and do that, and I was really happy for him.